Hello, so I am going to build another poleaxe using the Dominus Gladius poleaxe trainers. This one that I've got here is the first one I've done, and it's a version 2 poleaxe head, and I have a version 1 poleaxe head that I'm going to be putting on to this rather long piece of ash, except it's not going to be this long. It's going to be a bit shorter than my first one, given that this is just over 6 foot from the hammer. Obviously the tip's a bit longer. I want this one to come down possibly just sort of here. That way it's a little bit shorter, easier to move around, and it's just something a bit different. So the goal here is to cut this down and shape it into a nice rectangular shape with some edging on it. It feels better in the hand. And then whatever I'm left with will probably end up being a mace at some point. So I will start off by planing down the ash stave into a more manageable size. So I'll move this guy out of the way. I actually need to figure out how long I want it to be, so I'm going to put it in the vise. Yeah. How big the current one is. Pencil. So let's see. I'll try it at 5'5", and then if I want a little bit more off, I'll just cut a bit off the bottom. I feel like that's the safer option. And I do everything by hand pretty much because I'm a peasant. And I've got a rather nice bit of ash for a mace. Not ideal. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want. Poleaxe on the top there. We can imagine it. It's quite a nice little height. Okay. Plane away some material. I'm going to do this by thinning it out. This takes a little bit of time. I've got my old ass plane, so I'll just work one side and then I'll work the other. Okay, so now I'm just going to put another edge on the edge to give it a slightly better, like ergonomic feel to it when you're holding it. So it's not just rectangular. There's going to be an extra edge there to give it a smoother hold. If you've ever used a messer, kind of similar to their handle, helps you figure out which way your hammer and your beak is. And like a round spear where the shaft is round, you probably couldn't tell which way your hammerhead was. So having it hexagonal with a slight bevel on each side gives you a better indication of where your hammer or your beak is. Either way, one of those is going to cause some damage. So all I'm doing is just planing along the edge to give it a nice smoother edge and more defined. I'm sure there's a technical term for this, but I can't remember it. You can kind of see that it's starting to get that characteristic shape now. We just basically keep rotating around until we are happy with the shape. So I am just coming up to putting on the hammerhead, but I just need to take away a little bit more material to get it to stick on. There's about 1.5 inches, maybe a bit more of space inside the head, and then I'll have to glue and nail it on as well, but that'll be for another day because we're going to varnish this today. There we go. One very nearly done poleaxe. So there we go. Put it next to his big brother. Oof. Yes, I am pleased with that. Very pleased. This is going to be fun. Right, I'm just going to sand it down a bit. Get rid of some of those rough edges. Okay, I'm just going to I'm just going to paint it now with some bronze seal walnut stain, just to give it a bit of colour and a bit more protection. Right then, stay tuned for part 2, where I will finish varnishing it and then I will attach the hammerhead.